Hello everybody and welcome to the batch review for the Jumputi Heroes Kimetsu no Yaiba Feature Fest number 2. We're going to be talking about all the units today. I meant to do like a kind of thing where I broke it up into different parts and did the gacha characters and the event characters as I have done in the past, but didn't. I don't know why. But instead, we're gonna talk about the characters all at once. And I'm going to try and be at least a little bit concise this time, and hopefully you'll get a rough idea of what I think of each character and whether they're good or not. So we're going to go in order of ID this time. So none of these characters came in this event, but this one did. Zenitsu, version 2, limited Zenitsu. This is a unit that I think has its ups and downs. Typically speaking, I really like units like this. Tanjiro is very similar in the sense that he does a lot of damage. Yeah, sure. His damage is limited, so he's going to do a lot of damage. But he also does the damage over time. There's a few units that do damage over time. That's pretty good, but still. The important thing here, for me, is the rainbow bubbles. In addition to the damage and the damage over time, you're also getting the rainbow bubbles. This makes Zenitsu quite formidable and quite available to stick into teams he probably shouldn't fit into in order to beat stages, because he's going to be constantly creating these rainbow bubbles and getting you out of sticky situations while continually dealing shock damage. The reason why that's important and why it was important with Tanjiro is that damage over time is fixed damage. It doesn't have any sort of relation to the character's type or class, it just is shock damage, fixed damage. And that means, realistically, it doesn't really matter what team you put Zenitsu on. Ideally, you'd put him on a yellow team, obviously. But there are stages you would be able to beat that Zenitsu can just fit in. He doesn't need to be the same type as everybody else. I've done this before with Tanjiro, I've even done it on stream, where I've just put Tanjiro in a team he doesn't fit in and we've still beat the stage, because Tanjiro's burn gives you the freedom to constantly be doing damage, and then, you know, you can just do other stuff with the other units. And same with Zenitsu, it's a bit different though, because with burn it just kind of happens. With shock, you have to shock the opponent and then continually be bursting bubbles to get the most out of the damage. So Zenitsu's peak damage with the shock is probably a fair bit higher than Tanjiro's with the burn, but with Tanjiro's you just have to wait for the turns to count out and you can constantly keep reburning. With the case of the shock, you can do the same, but the damage doesn't increase over time, it increases based on the amount of bubbles you pop. So you need to constantly be popping a lot of bubbles with Zenitsu to get the most out of him. So, like I said, has his ups and downs. I'm a big fan of the unit. I think you can have a lot of fun playing with these units. This is a good distinction to make. The difference between a unit that is genuinely very, very, very strong and very, very good at what they do, and a unit that can kind of be put in a lot of different places and is quite a lot of fun to play with. Zenitsu for me is that unit. He's quite a lot of fun to play with, and you can still get some good damage out of him. Don't get me wrong, you can get some good damage out of him. As for his support, convert a random bubble to a skill bubble with boosted base damage, boost the blast radius by 2, and for 3 turns boost the attack of balanced class team members by 32%. Any character that is creating a skill bubble and giving you additional effects, that's obviously good, but Zenitsu is creating a very strong, explosive skill bubble, and he's giving you that additional attack boost for 3 turns for balanced class team members. This is a very nice support. And if you can build a team with this support in mind and having balanced units in the front line, this can be pivotal in some of the more difficult stages, because it can really set you up to do a lot of damage. Love a support like this. All in all, Zenitsu, fantastic unit. Moving on to version 2 Oenosuke. This is our first ever explosive breakthrough unit. And we are going to get more of these in the future, it seems. And, you know, right now, Oenosuke has no end date. But they do seem to be suggesting there's going to be more of these down the line. I'm all for it. I'm hoping that everybody's chugging along with the missions, because it does take a while. But you'll get there, you will get there. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a very comfortable amount of time to finish these missions, and then some more time on top of that, because I think they're going to give us probably a few months to do this before they release a new one, so you'll be fine. You'll be fine if you haven't done it yet. In terms of his skills, inflict damage that ignores damage reduction to one enemy, and for 4 turns boost this unit's attack. It's pretty good. Bear in mind, this is a 99 luck unit. Obviously, it's a lot of work to get to 99 luck, but you've got time, so it'll be fine. And look, 350% damage that ignores damage reduction, plus a 4-turn attack boost. So a top stack, that is 40%. You can continually stack that. So if you keep attacking every single turn, that's going to be 40%. Plus, you know, the adding in the numbers for having multiple skill bubbles and stuff like that. This is really good. This is really good for a free-to-play unit. Plus, when you look at his passive, reduce the number of bubbles required to create a skill bubble by 1 for this unit. Unconditional bubble reduction down to 6. He's always going to take 6 or less unless you get bubble extension as a debuff. And boost this unit's ultimate attack damage by 20%. Again, unconditional ultimate attack damage boost. This is a very good unit. For a free-to-play unit, for a 99 luck unit, this is a very good unit. I even used this Oenosuke to beat Doma when I did it on stream. He had like level 6 skills. He was still very good to have in the team. Very good unit. So, let me just put this out here. One of the best free-to-play units we've got. Obviously, there are certain units that fill a very general and very necessary role. Units that have certain reductions on support, or units that inflict weakening or buff or whatever. But as a hitter, as an actual standalone hitter unit, Oenosuke is amazing. One of the best that we've got. So, quite nice. Quite nice. As for the buddy skill, a bit weird. It's a bit weird. Converts the center bubble to a rainbow bubble if it is not a skill bubble. So that does include block bubbles. And for 3 turns, boost the ultimate attack damage of all team members by up to 20%. So that's on a 6-turn cooldown. You know, 3 turns ultimate attack damage boost for all colors, 20%. It's okay. The rainbow bubble, center bubble is a bit weird to me. Like, if it had been like a line across the middle or a line down the middle or whatever, that'd be kind of cool. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's really weird. Like, when you see this in action, it looks really odd just seeing a little rainbow bubble appear in the middle and then nothing else really happen except the attack boost. I think there are better supports out there, but you know, I think you'd actually use them for a 99 luck. I think you'd actually use them as a front line anyway, so it doesn't matter. Next unit, we have version 2 Kanao. People will know that I was very excited for this unit, and I'm happy that she's finally arrived. I'm happy we got the Oenosuke as well. One of my favourite battles, Oenosuke and Kanao versus Doma. Personal opinion, it's the peak of the series. Just say it, it's the peak of the series. But do her skills live up to my hype? Well, the damage is pretty high. I mean, 450% damage for a standard gacha unit. The downside is you're cutting your own HP by 2%. 2%'s not a lot, so that's okay. And for 3 turns, boost this unit's attack by 18%. So she, again, is a hitter. She's a hitter. As far as damage goes, I mean, look, Oenosuke has the benefit of being a 99 luck unit. I'm not saying you wouldn't use Kanao, because her damage is obviously higher than Oenosuke's, but potentially I would say that the cutting your own HP is only a small debuff, so it's not too bad. But I don't know if I would be using her as a hitter outside of stages where her kit specifically is good for it. In a lot of cases, your hitters are going to be your limits. But Oenosuke, free-to-play unit, 99 luck unit, kind of gets the benefit of the doubt. For Kanao, for me, I kind of wish there was something a little bit better here. Not to say it's bad, you can still do a hell of a lot of damage with this. I just think it had been like additional damage to whatever. I don't know. She still buffs her own attack, so she's going to hit hard. She's going to hit hard. Passive, before this unit's turn, convert 1 block bubble to a yellow bubble and boost this unit's attack by 10%. Unconditional attack boost, plus that 10% goes up to 30%. and, you know, converts one block bubble to a yellow. This is particularly useful on Doma's stage. If you're using her and Zenitsu, straight away you're getting bubble conversions, and you're getting rid of some of those block bubbles, so really nice. I don't know, she is good. She is definitely good on a front line. I don't necessarily know that you'd be running her that often. I don't know. But there are lots of stages where you'd see some use of this, so it's fine. Her buddy skill, bursts 4 blue bubbles, and for 4 turns boost the attack of this unit's buddy by 57%. For 4 turns boost the attack of this unit's buddy by 4%. She's a double attack buffer that actually goes up to 22% of max skill. And I'm still not really sure how I feel about the double attack buffers. It's a very PvP centric skill. I don't think it's bad, but I think that we're getting a lot more PvP centric skills, and it's become a bit of a war zone in PvP. It really has. There's a lot of like, I'll negate your attack buff, and I'll put 2 attack buffs so you can't negate all of my attack buffs, and I'll use this special like burn weakening. Only for burn. All the other weakenings haven't been added yet, so if you're using any other element, my burn weakening, I'm going to get advantage and all this stuff. There's loads of counter plays and stuff, and it's stressful, bro. I just click auto. I just click auto and let it play. But the PvP skills do have their uses. All in all, for Kanao, I think maybe I was expecting a little bit too much for her, because I was hoping that her and Oenosuke may somehow be like limited or something. Maybe that was a bit wishful thinking. But I love that fight, bro. That fight is fucking top tier. It is top tier. Instead, we got the Zenitsu limited, which is fair enough. He is the most popular character, so whatever. But in terms of her skills, it is perfectly usable, and she does have the benefit of kind of being very general. She could do good damage while not having to worry about countering a specific gimmick. The downside to that is she probably won't last as long as some other units that have specific things they counter. Who else came out this event? Who else came out this event? We have Doma. I think Doma's the next one. So Doma is a freeze unit. Very, very rare. Very, very rare. They're becoming more common, to be fair. But there was a period where they really did not put much support in for freeze. Well, we have a freeze 99 luck unit now. 2 turns freeze. The damage works out pretty good for a free-to-play unit. Freeze again doesn't have the best support, but it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. I'm sure at some point we're going to get freeze weakening, and we're going to get more units that deal freeze off support and stuff like that. So when those come, it should be quite interesting. The passive reduced the number of turns of curse by 2 for this unit, and reduced damage received by up to 150 for this unit. It's pretty nice. Counter gimmick plus damage reduction. You can't really complain. You can't really complain. I think some people do like a little bit of a buff or whatever, but in a way, with a unit that's doing damage over time, the damage reduction is almost better than a buff, because you're doing the damage over time and you're trying to stay alive as long as possible. Yeah, I think it could be quite nice. I think it could be quite nice. And the buddy skill, convert 1 random bubble to a skill bubble with 110% base damage. And then for 1 turn, boost the attack of DPS class team members by 10%, cooldown 8 turns. Like I said, if you create a skill bubble and you're doing additional benefits and it's all pretty good, I think it's quite nice. Again, it's a specific class which, you know, has its ups and downs. If you have a DPS team already, then he's just going to go in there. If you don't have a DPS team, maybe not. But it makes him, I don't know, I guess sort of flexible, because you don't necessarily have to use him as a support on a blue team. You can just have a DPS team. They don't even all have to be matching colours or anything. But giving people the opportunity to buff classes is good. I just think, in general, I don't see as much use out of it, but that's probably just poor planning on my part. You could easily include these units rather than using some of the other low cooldown skill bubble creators in order to give yourself a little bit of a buff. But it's nice. All in all, I think he has a really clean kit. Really nice. We got damage over time, damage reduction, curse reduction, and a nice little skill bubble creation and buff. Very nice for a 99 luck unit. Yorichi Sugekuni next. This guy has one of the maddest special animations in the entire game. It's maybe a little bit overkill, but I said the same thing about the dual units when they came out, and I think a lot of people like those, and I think people like this as well. So, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. So, Yorichi's ability inflicts 550% damage to one enemy. If the target is special class, inflicts an additional 50% damage, and for 2 turns, boosts normal attack damage for red team members. He is a normal attack damage buffer. A very nice little ability. Normal attack damage buffers are slowly getting more support, and I think that's good because it gives you a bit more flexibility in how you can build your team. Again, like I said before, boosting classes. Here, instead of boosting, you know, damage or boosting ultimate attack damage, you are boosting specifically normal attack damage, which can be a little bit awkward to build around. But I think if you had enough units and enough support later down the line, you could be doing some mad damage with this. Some mad damage. Plus, it does give you the ability to have, say, like, a red weakener, a red attack buffer, a red ultimate attack damage buffer, and a red normal attack damage buffer. You could just go crazy. You could just go crazy with the buffs. But the damage output's going to be pretty high for your team. If you're running Yorichi, he's going to be buffing considerably with the normal attack damage buff. And 550% plus another 50, 565% damage to special class. That's pretty damn nice. The passive skill, reduce the number of buddy skill by 2 for this unit. Boost this unit's attack by 20%, and at the start of this unit's turn, if the enemy is blue, guard 20% of all damage received for this unit. Now, on Japan, you will know that that is what Ryotsu does. Ryotsu and Lemon does the guard against the type the unit has a disadvantage against. So this is, I guess, the second unit of that archetype. I suppose you call it an archetype. Unfortunately, on Tier 1, Ryotsu has that and then also has double tap. We didn't get that. We didn't get that on Japan. But here, we've got some pretty nice little abilities because you've got buddy skill reduction. That's good. You've got the attack boost, unconditional. That's good. And then on top of that, you've got the counter guard. Now, not counter guards, the type guard. Now, this, technically, you could use Yorichi against an enemy that was blue, and you could get the benefit of this in PvE, but realistically you probably wouldn't, and especially seeing as one of his main gimmicks is to boost the normal attack damage of red units, you'd have to use a whole red team to get the benefits of his special while still getting the benefits of his passive, which would probably get you killed most of the time. These abilities look like they're really for PvP. You're guarding, on the off chance you've put up a team and you've gone into a battle and you're coming up against a disadvantage, you have the benefit of guarding 20% of that damage. And that's a lot. 20% guard is a lot. That is 20% of all the damage cut off. So, pretty nice. It's pretty nice. I probably personally would not be that interested in using it for PvP because I'm not that much of a PvP player, but even if I was, I'm quite comfortable with my team, and I don't think this is like, I think it's good, I just don't see much use for it. That being said, this is kind of good, you know. Plus that normal attack damage buff is going to carry over when you use it, and it's for 2 turns. I don't know, his damage is high, that's all I'll say. His damage is going to be high, and he's going to make other people's damage higher, so pretty nice. His buddy skill, convert a random bubble to a skill bubble, 3 block bubbles, 1 red, green, blue, yellow or heart bubble to rainbow bubbles, and for 1 turn inflict 20% burn weakening to 1 enemy. This special is nutty. This is filthy. This is nutty and filthy. I don't really know what to say beyond that, because look, converting a skill bubble, random bubble to a skill bubble, that's standard fare. Converting 3 block bubbles plus 1 random other bubble to rainbow. So you're getting 4 rainbow bubbles and you're getting rid of 3 block bubbles, which is really good in PvP. And you inflict burn weakening, which if you're using him with, like, I don't know, Tanjiro or whatever, and you've got Yorichi coming down the line after Tanjiro, you're gonna do massive damage, massive damage. I don't know. I don't know what to say. That support is really nice, really, really nice. And I mean, when I first saw this, my idea was kind of like, while I could use Jules on Yorichi's ultimate attack and passive skill, and it would be perfectly reasonable thing to do because they are very good, I would rather use Jules on his support and then Jules Zenitsu, because I'm going to have more fun playing with Zenitsu right now, because normal attack damage doesn't have as much support as I'd like it to, and even though shock doesn't have as much support as I'd like it to, I like being fed those rainbow bubbles and just being able to do mad damage over time. They just kind of mess about, you know, mess about. With Yorichi, his peak damage will come later, when there's more support for normal attack damage buffs, when there's more support for, I don't know, like, just normal attack damage buffs, really. When there's more support for that, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Right now, that's not a priority to me, but it absolutely could be to you, because I think it will do a lot of damage. It will do a lot of damage. Kokoshibo. Kokoshibo. So, his damage up... What am I saying? His damage is pretty standard fare for a catastrophe stage. And he is going to do additional damage to attack up. Now, something I've said for a very long time is that units that do additional damage to attack up are very useful, because attack up just shows up everywhere. I'm not saying you would use Kokoshibo in PvP, but attack up shows up in PvP all the time. Attack up shows up in PvE all the time. So many enemies have attack up. Kokoshibo is going to be doing an extra 45% damage to all of them. So, quite nice, quite nice. And considering his special looks really good, it looks really good. I would be kind of tempted to say, look, I might limit break him. I might limit break him and actually use it. Strictly speaking, it's better to have units that are doing weakening or buffing as your 99 luck units, but I can't help but feel like that's really nice. It's going to be some good damage. His passive skill boosts his ultimate attack damage by up to 14%, and if the enemy is special class, reduce the number of bubbles required to create a skill bubble by 2 for this unit. This is quite nice. You don't really see this that often. If the enemy is special class, reduce weather. I mean, we've seen it before, but it's not that common on catastrophe bosses, and well, it's quite nice. I mean, you will come up against a lot of special class enemies, and if you do come up against one, reduces the number of bubbles required to create a skill bubble by 2. That's really nice. There's not much else to say. That's really nice. Unconditional attack damage, ultimate attack damage buff, very nice too. So, personally for me, I really like his frontline kit. I know, strictly speaking, yes, he's not going to be as useful in the long run as the weakeners and as the buffers, but hey, pretty good. It's pretty good. His buddy skill, convert one heart bubble to a skill bubble, absorb one skill bubble from this unit's buddy, and reduce the number of turns of shock for green and blue team members by 1. For 2 turns, boost the attack of blue and green team members by up to 5%. What is this support? This is a free unit. This is a free unit. He's converting a bubble to a skill bubble and absorbing it, which is normally something you would get with standard gacha units, but okay, it's a free unit, he does that, okay, fair enough. But then, reduce the number of turns of shock for green and blue team members by 1. So, for 2 different types, he's reducing the shock. That's really good, that's really good. And for 2 turns, boost the attack of blue and green team members by 5%. Look, strictly speaking, it's a small amount of shock reduction, it's a small amount of attack boost, and then it's a skill bubble plus an absorb. It's not that much, but put it all together and it feels like a lot. It's a lot of different things happening all at once. And again, the fact that he can absorb, there's a lot of gacha units that have this. You might not have them. Now there is a free unit, a free option you can use for that. So probably grab that. Probably grab that, because it could be quite useful. What's left? Gacha units. Himejima Gyome. So he does damage, plus if the enemy has auto heal, additional damage, and for 2 turns reduce damage received for this unit by 1100. Quite nice that he has the damage reduction in there. The additional damage to auto heal's really uncommon, but it does happen, but it's really uncommon, so it's kind of like, yeah, okay, fair enough, but I wish it was a bit more common, that's all. Maybe in the future though, maybe in the future it will be more common and now I'll see some more use. But all in all, pretty solid little frontline ability. It's okay. I just wish, you know, because obviously your total damage, if they do have auto heal, is 560. Which is loads. It's loads. If you have him max skill, obviously, it's loads. Plus you're getting damage reduction on top of that, but it's just not that common. Which I guess is why they're willing to give him so much extra damage for it. The passive, reduce the number of buddy seal by buddy skill seal by 2. Boost this unit's attack by up to 30%. Pretty standard fare for a Stunagachi unit. I don't like buddy skill seal, so reducing it is quite nice. Buddy skill for him is 2 turns attack of red team members up 28%, 2 turns attack of DPS class up 34%. I'm reading the wrong ones. 38% of 34%. He's a double buffer, but not the ones that do 2 of the same buff, but rather one of one kind and one of another kind. Very useful. Very useful. I mean, it's kind of similar to the double buffers that we were shown before anyway, but personally not a support I will use that often, but I think it's one that can help you generate quite a lot of damage, so that's that. All in all, not a bad unit. For a standard Gouch unit, not a bad unit. He's at least got something interesting he's bringing to the table with the additional damage to auto heal, because, again, the auto heal's not that common, but neither is units that do boosted damage to it, so kind of nice. We have Sanami. He is a Cyclone unit. Thank you Jumputi devs for realizing that the elemental characters should do the elemental damage that they do in the show, because there's a few times they have not done that. In Kimetsu no Yaiba they've been pretty consistent with it, but sometimes not so much. But we do have another Cyclone unit. He'll do some pretty good damage with this Cyclone if you add it all up. It's going to be pretty tasty. His passive is going to allow you to convert one green bubble to a rainbow bubble before the unit's turn, and when your HP is 40% or more, boost this unit's attack by 39%. A little, not as good as some of the other standard Gatch units we've seen today, because he's converting a green to a rainbow, but that's not bad, but he is a green unit at the end of the day. And you would rather he converted one of the trash bubbles to a rainbow. I know there could be an argument for it helps you set up extra skill bubbles when there's too many greens on the board and stuff. Yes, but could have just made that yellow. Could have just made that yellow or blue or something. I think that would have been better. And when your HP is 40% or more, boost this unit's attack by 39%. It's a nice little buff, but why is it conditional? Plus he has no sort of debuff negation or anything like that. I kind of wish he had something like that, but it's okay. It's perfectly usable. His buddy skill, 2 turns, reduce the number of bubbles required to create a skill bubble for green team members by 1, or by 3, and for 7 turns, boost the attack of green team members by 10%. Really nice. 7-turn attack buff is really nice. And 2 turns reduction by 3, really nice. Reduction by 3 is normally only 1 turn, so getting it for 2 turns, very, very nice. All in all, for me, he's more of a support unit than he is a frontline. It's not like you can't use his frontline, especially seeing as he is a Cyclone unit, he will do good damage over time. But that passive's a little bit not great. You only got to keep above 40% though, so if you stay above 40%, you're going to be doing quite good damage. Genya! My boy Genya. By the way, you might have noticed there's no pages here. The reason there's no pages here is because they've actually removed them from the game. They're not in the game anymore. The pages used to appear on the loading screen, and it used to be like the pages of a volume of Weekly Shonen Jump, and they flip through the pages and show you the page with the character in the foreground. At some point they have made the decision they're not going to use those anymore. I guess it saves them a bit of time, maybe. So instead they're using these little panels you can see here. They've just put it in a different frame, and those come along on the side next to the character when the game's loading. So I'm going to figure out what to put here. I've got a couple of ideas, but some of them take longer to execute than others, so I'll have a think about it. But back onto Genya. Genya does damage plus recover 3k HP. Pretty nice for survivability, especially as he is, again, a 99 luck unit. Yeah, it's quite simple. There's not a lot to say here. If you're trying to make a team that's going to survive, that could be quite useful. Passive skill, reduce the number of turns of bubbling effectiveness for this unit by 2. It's okay. When unit's HP is 55% or more, boost this unit's attack by 22%. That doesn't need to be conditional, bro. How does that need to be conditional? I get that they've tried to make it like a weaker version of Sanami's because they're brothers. But why? Why? Why did they both need to be HP restricted? I don't get it. Whatever. Whatever. And the buddy skill. Recover 5k HP. For 4 turns, boost the attack of yellow and green team members by 15%. It's alright. You know, having these supports that heal you by like a set amount, it can be quite good for certain stages. There are certain stages where damage is going to hit you hard really fast. But having a free unit that could just give you 5k heal plus 4 turns of attack boost on an 8-turn cooldown as well. Very nice. Very, very nice. As far as the unit goes, it's kind of meh. But there's some uses. There's some potential uses with the front line. Like I said, survivability. And the support, again. There are times when you might need something like that. But generally speaking, kind of not as good as I was hoping he would be. And then we have Kaigaku. Kaigaku is transcendent, so I really wasn't expecting a lot. He does shock damage, but he does considerably less shock damage than, well, any of the other shock units, I think. Pretty much any of them. His passive boosts his ultimate attack damage by 14%. Unconditional, to be fair, unconditional. And when Legend Summon Gauge is at 35% or higher, before this unit's turn, convert 1 block to a yellow bubble. That's it's kind of not the best, but again, he's a Transcendent, so I didn't expect a lot. I would say, personally for me, anything tied to that Legend Summon Gauge is not really something I'm interested in. It's kind of stinky. But it could have been worse. For a Transcendent unit, you know what? Could have been a lot worse. I don't think that's too bad. And for the buddy skill, reduce the number of turns of freeze for yellow team members by 1. And for 4 turns, boost the ultimate attack damage of yellow team members. That goes up to 14%. 9-turn cooldown. It's a very nice support. It's a very nice support. About what you'd expect for a Transcendent unit. Front line's basically garbage. But the buddy skill allows you to reduce freeze, which, I mean, there's not many freeze reductions in the game, so that's good. And it's giving you, on top of that, an ultimate attack damage buff. So, very, very nice. I'm sure one day we'll have some filthy Genkai battle that inflicts freeze. And we're all going to be struggling, and Kaigaku's going to be our guy. He's going to be our guy that comes in to save the day. But we're not done yet, because we have one more unit all the way down here. Now, Shizaki, obviously, is not from Kimetsu no Yaiba, but she did come out in this batch, so I figured I might as well. And what do I have to say about her? Well, first things first, even though all of the Kimetsu no Yaiba units have very, very nice sprites, very, very nice animations, I would say this is probably the best looking unit out of the batch. They've got the sprite is like spot on to the fucking like color pages of the manga. Plus, they've got the kind of bloom effect that they use on pretty much all of the color drawings of Shizaki. It's very nice. It looks very good in game. The animations are very cool. Let's talk about her as a unit, though. As far as a unit goes, inflicts damage. Okay, that's a good start. Inflicts fixed damage to one enemy and negates 1 attack up from all enemies. Normally, I'm not a big fan of fixed damage. Realistically, I don't really see the point in it. Obviously, it has its uses, you know, because you can get past barriers and stuff like that, and you can ignore type advantage and disadvantage. Plus, you know, it's part of a free set of abilities. A damage plus fixed damage plus attack up. So I can't complain about it too much. But generally speaking, no, I do not like fixed damage. But I think in tandem with the negate 1 attack up from all enemies, It's pretty nice. It's for a free unit, 340% damage. Obviously, she doesn't go to 99 luck, but all in all, you can't really complain about that. It's a nice little set of skills. I don't know. The fixed damage is kind of dead, but the negate attack up is nice at least. The passive reduced the number of bubbles required to negate bind by 7. And boosts this unit's attack by 26%. You've got bind negation and you've got unconditional attack up. That's really nice. That's really good. And the buddy skill. Convert 1 red, green, blue, and yellow bubble to rainbow bubbles. So 4 rainbow bubbles. And for 2 turns, boost the recovery of this unit's body by 36%, 32% in tower. I'm not sure how I feel about this. The bubble conversion's nice. The recovery boost is kind of weird. It's kind of weird, you know. And 32% in tower goes up to 56% in tower. But how often do you like heal in tower? I mean, maybe there's some whole meta I'm missing. I don't know. I rarely heal in tower, so unless there's going to be some meta shift soon, or there's a secret meta I don't know about, it's a bit odd. It's odd. I won't say it's bad, I will say it's odd. But at least giving you 4 rainbow bubbles and a 4-turn recovery boost, it's okay. It's okay. Now, one last thing to talk about. Won't keep you too much longer. We have the Legend Summon. We have to go down to K for Kimetsu no Yaiba. The Infinite Castle Legend Summon. Convert 2 red bubbles to rainbow bubbles. Convert 4 blue bubbles to rainbow bubbles. Reduce the number of turns of shock for green and yellow team members by 1. And for 2 turns, inflict 30% weakening to all enemies. I think this is a very nice Legend Summon. And we are getting a lot more Legend Summons a lot more frequently. And we're getting a lot of what I call utility Legend Summons. We have ones that, you know, boost attack and boost ultimate attack damage. And we have ones that heal. But the ones I'm talking about are the ones that are specifically countering a certain buff or debuff. And this is what we're talking about. It's countering the shock. It's giving you a bunch of rainbow bubbles to get started with. And it's inflicting 12% weakening for all enemies for 2 turns. Very, very nice. That goes up to 30%, by the way. Up to 30%. I think that's a very nice Legend Summon. Very, very nice. So, all in all, I think this batch is pretty solid. There's a few that I think are a bit mediocre. There's no absolute trash stinkers in there. There's a few kind of rough ones. I think Genya's kit's kind of rough. But yeah, all in all, not too shabby. Not too shabby. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to be back with all the Bobobo stuff once we get full information very, very soon. So I'll see you guys then.